Hey guys, this is Jones with Pool Warehouse, and today we're going to try to explain to you how you build one of our steel pool steps. Now this particular step is an open pour tanning ledge step. It's got several steel treads that come after that. All the steps come with a diagram. Now that's an exploded diagram that has the different part numbers that make up the step included on it. So for example, you might have part 1 that connects to piece 2 to piece 3. All those different parts will be numbered on the diagram, and that will be included with your pool kit. So all of our steps are made by Hydra Pools. Now Hydra uses only the highest quality steel. Their panels are made from 14 gauge steel, and all the steps will be made from 14 gauge steel. That steel is coated with G235. Now that's a zinc coating, and it's the highest galvanization process you can actually apply to metal. So for example, this panel says made in the USA, G235. That's what you're looking for when you're looking at steel wall pools. We don't have any BAM, POW, WOW gimmicks. All of our steel is made in the USA, so it's not imported. And we definitely set the industry standard when it comes to quality for steel wall pools. A common question that we're asked is, how is the step supported? All of our steel steps have a bracing system that's underneath. Now that bracing system is listed as one part number on your drawing, but that part is made up of several subcomponents. So for example, number 7 on your drawing is made up of part 3, 4, and 5. And all those parts are numbered, and together that makes part 7, and that's one brace or support for your step. Another neat feature on the Hydra Pool step is that they've really thought about the design of the step, and they've gone ahead and actually patented an embossed bead system, and those raised bumps hold your liner in place until you get all the water on it. Just wanted to point that out. Nobody else really does that in the industry. A lot of other manufacturers will have you screw on a separate piece of aluminum. That aluminum is what holds the liner in place. You don't need to do that with the Hydra system. They've gone ahead and embossed these raised little holes here and divots that hold that liner into place until you get the water on it. All right, so we're starting to put the panels together and make the frame of the step. So that's pretty easy to do, but it's really important to note that you want to start off at the right elevation. You also want to make sure that the panels are very level before you start that process as well. Now, something to note, don't screw down the bolts all the way. Leave them loose in case you need to move something around. You don't want to tighten everything up until you're sure everything's in the right spot. All right, so we've got the frame of this pool step really laid out, and it's semi-bolted together. We've got it kind of loose on here, and we've gone by our diagram, and as you can see on the front of these panels, I think right down here on this one has a great example. They're all numbered, so you'll be able to tell by looking at your diagram how those match up together. But once the frame is set, then we'll start working on the treads that go on the inside. But this is starting to come together really nice, and it's going to be a great looking step. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and start attaching the tread and riser section of the step to the pool wall. Now you may need to put on gloves. It does get a little bit hot with the steel, and some of the edges can be sharp. We do recommend once the step is complete that you cover the whole thing, every bit of the tread, riser, your walls, and the ledge with wall foam, so that'll help any rough edges from hurting your liner. Now you've got bolt holes that are already pre-punched, so it's easy to follow, and those correspond with holes on the inside of the step as well. You'll need a partner on the other side to feed those through. And I have Cap on the other side who's going to help me. Cap, do you have that bolt? Yep. All right, we'll screw that washer on and we'll keep going. Okay, so we're getting our brace support system built into the step. Now these pieces are pretty easy to use. They just slip in, and you have bolt holes here, and you'll put one on each side of your tread, right in the middle of the step. Now these will go ultimately and bolt in. We'll flip this up and bolt in to this step. So this will really add a lot of extra support and stability for the step. You'll have one on each end of your center tread. All right, looks good. We've got our second tread almost assembled, and just wanted to stop here and kind of show you guys this support brace. This is the second level support. It's a little bit taller than the first one. It's a great feature on this step. It really adds a lot of stability as you're going through, and we'll have a second one right in the middle when we get to that point. Also wanted to point out, you can see this raised indentation that we talked about earlier. That little raised indentation is what holds the bead that's on the back of the liner in place. So they've sealed a little bead on the back. It goes in every so often, and that really holds the liner in place until you get water up on the step. Now, if you get that too tight when you're compacting this down and you can't get the bead in there, that's not a problem. You can take a pair of scissors, trim that bead right off, and then just sandbag the step once you get the liner on there, and it'll be fine as well until you get it filled up with water. It looks good. All right, guys, we're about finished with this step. We've been working on it for about 3 hours, so it doesn't take too long to fully assemble. It really looks great when it's finished. Before you tighten everything down, make sure to use a level. Check and make sure all the different treads and risers, everything is level. This looks great. We've also got our braces here in the back, so we're ready for concrete. Now what we'll do tomorrow is come back. We're gonna pour about 8 to 12 inches of concrete behind this step. That's gonna lock everything into place. And then once that's hardened, we'll ultimately backfill. Now you can backfill with dirt or gravel, any non-expansive material. I would recommend number 57 3/4 inch clean gravel. If you don't have that, you can always use dirt, but you're gonna wanna stop about 4 inches or 2 inches right below the top. You're gonna finish that last 2 to 4 inches with poolcrete or concrete. So you'll trowel that smooth, and that'll leave you with your nicely finished tanning ledge. It'll look really great. And then make sure to cover all that with wall foam before you put your liner on. One last tidbit, we're gonna take these metal strips and go ahead and bolt those on. And you're gonna do that all the way around. And we actually have some curved pieces here for the corners. And that just helps create that liner track, so that way your liner fits snugly and nicely against those raised embosses on the back side of the step. And that's it. So plan on at least 3 hours. Make sure you use a level, make sure everything's at the right elevation, but it really is a beautiful finished product when it's all said and done, and definitely worth the time. Okay, so we've got the concrete truck here now, and we're gonna go ahead and start filling the inside of this step with about 8 to 12 inches of concrete. What you want to do is make sure that you get the concrete up inside at least the first tread of that step. Okay, so our mix is 3,000 PSI, and you want to make sure, we've got some shovels here as well. You want to make sure you take those shovels and get that mix right up underneath the tread. So you'll probably have to shovel or rake and push some of that up underneath the tread of the step. You want to make sure that you shovel and you get a lot of that mix up underneath the step. You want to fill that whole inside tread at a bare minimum with your concrete, and make sure to use 3,000 PSI at least. So it's pretty easy to do, but just make sure that you have some shovels and a couple rakes on hand. All right, so we've got everything full of about 8 to 12 inches of that 3,000 PSI concrete mix. So it looks really good. What we'll do is we'll let this harden up for at least 3 or 4 hours, and once it gets pretty hard, we're gonna go ahead and come back with gravel and fill it up to maybe 2 or 3 inches below the top of this last tread. All right, guys, it is smoking hot out here today, but we finally got the tanning ledge done. We went ahead and finished the floor as well. We've been battling a little bit of rain, so it's been super humid. Prepare to sweat when you're doing any pool project, but went ahead and did the floor and the tanning ledge at the same time. Now, if you have questions on how to do the floor, make sure you watch our full-length installation video. We do talk about doing the floor as well. So we use Poolcrete, and Poolcrete is just basically Portland cement and vermiculite. It's an aggregate that's pre-mixed, and we sell it in 40-pound bags, or you might be able to source it locally. Regardless, we did the floor of the pool and this tanning ledge using that product. Now, we went about 3 inches thick here, and that means you need to stop your gravel about 3 inches below the top. So you want to finish that, trowel it smooth, make sure you level it. You don't want to leave any lumps or any sharp edges on it. If you wait about 48 hours, you can come back, sweep it off, knock off any rough edges, and then you'll be good to go to put down your foam and your liner. Okay guys, I want to talk to you about one more feature on this pool. This particular kit has a pool bench. I really love this feature. Now, this one is only about 6 feet, but it's a great add-on for any pool kit. You can put it in the shallow end or the deep end. When you're sitting in here, it's going to be about chest high with water. You're never going to fill it all the way to the top, but depending on your height, it'll be chest or mid-chest height. I really like the ledge as well. So it's got a nice place that you can put your feet. That ledge is done during the excavation process, but the price on these benches is very reasonable. So if you want a nice add-on that doesn't cost a lot of money, a bench is a great one. Okay guys, it's finally dried out enough for us to start putting the wall foam on this tanning ledge and step combo and ultimately get our liner dropped, hopefully today. So it doesn't take long to put wall foam on. We definitely recommend that you put it all over the tread, the riser, and the top of your tanning ledge at a minimum. If it was my pool, I'd go ahead and put it all over the steel walls as well, the bench, anything else that you have in the pool that may be made out of steel. Now this is just 1/8 inch wall foam. You could probably get this locally. We do sell it, so if you need to add it with your kit, that's not a problem. We do ship it with the rest of your pool kit. We'll go ahead and lay a little bit of this and then show you how that goes down. All right, before you put that foam down or your liner down, we definitely want to make sure we knock off any rough edges. I found a spot here. I was a little divoted, a little bit of a rough edge, so I've just kind of scraped up some of that material, and once you scrape it up, you can easily just press it back down into any divots you might have, but definitely want to make sure that you knock off any rough edges. You don't want anything poking your feet, or you don't want any big dips. If you do have a big dip though, you can always come back in and add more pool base if you feel like you made a little bit of a mistake with your trowel. But if it's just something simple, you should be easily able to fix that, and then just let it sit for a few minutes and then just sweep off any excess small pieces like this. We'll come back and sweep that off before we put our foam down. Okay, so we've gone ahead and started to get this foam on here. Now, the way we've chosen to do it is by taking the foam and extending it long ways down over the tanning ledge, ultimately down over the tread and riser of the step. Now, you may choose to go a different direction. It doesn't really matter. This is the way I like to do it. I find that it's easier to do this way. And also, if you really match it up nicely, you don't have to put any tape on your joints. So you can match it up together and it's a clean look. When you're stretching it out, you may want to cut it at the bottom of each tread. That way you can just go ahead and get it stuck on there. And you may wonder, well, how do I get that stuck on there? Your foam comes with a spray adhesive. You definitely want to use that. You spray that all over the tread and riser before you apply the foam. If you have questions on how to do the Poolcrete for the floor of the pool, or more details on the wall foam, check out our full-length video. And we really go into more detail on poolcrete and wall foam, but this is a great example of how that's done. All right guys, so we've already got the liner in. You may want to set the box in the shallow end and start unfolding it. You definitely want to put the step in first. Now, the neat thing about these Hydro liners is they do have a hang tab that's sealed on the back side of where the tread meets the riser. Now, that hang tab goes down in between the tread and the riser, and you can use one of these little plastic wedges that's included with your liner to help push that down in there. Now, if you've tightened this up too much or you can't really get it to fit all the way, you can very carefully just trim that hang tag off the back. You don't have to have it, it's just a neat little feature, but you can trim that off the back to help the liner go in a little bit smoother. If you do that, you want to sandbag the top of the liner when you're done. I would personally sandbag all the treads when I'm done anyways, put a sandbag in each corner and across the front. That'll help keep the liner from moving. Now, once it's full of water, it's never gonna move anywhere, but what you're really trying to do is keep the liner from moving anywhere as you're filling it with water, because all that water is gonna wanna start pooling back against the liner. So sandbag the bottom tread, maybe a couple around the front, one in each corner. Also make sure not to wear shoes when you're putting in your liner. You don't wanna accidentally poke a hole in it from any rock that might be stuck in the tread of your shoe. But we're gonna keep going and we'll get this all the way up on the tanning ledge. Okay, we've got the liner spread across the tanning ledge. We've got all the treads done and the risers. Everything is going in nicely. Don't forget to sandbag across the front of the treads and in the corners. That way the liner doesn't move around on you when you're filling it with water. If you have questions on the rest of the liner install, make sure to check out our 20-minute liner install video. So we have a video that shows you how to do that every step of the way. But next time you see us back here at this pool, it'll be all full of water and this tanning ledge will be complete. Okay guys, we're finally done with this open pour top tanning ledge with step. And it's really solid. It feels great when you walk on it. There's no flex, there's no bowing or bending. As you know, we did put about 12 inches of concrete, gravel on top of that, and ultimately finished it with a couple inches of poolcrete. So it's very solid and you're only gonna be about ankle deep in water. That's great if you have kids or if you want to lay out, but you don't want to be completely submerged. It's a great play area. You might be able to go up to 6 inches deep, but I would say most folks only want it to be about ankle deep. Now, I love this particular pool because the customer chose to go with gray coping. Looks really great with a light gray concrete finish. Also, the liner has no border. Now, you can take any border off of any of the liners at Pool Warehouse. There is a fee for that, but if you want to get rid of that tile top, you can do that as well. This particular pool came out looking great. The tanning ledge is a fantastic option. So if you're considering this, if you have additional questions, give us a call and we'll get those questions knocked out for you. But if you're considering a tanning ledge, this is a great option for your pool.